Hi, party people. Welcome to the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott, where I talk all about life, love, healing, spirituality, witchcraft, magic, tarot, feminine energy, and everything in between. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about tarot and some of the reasons why people might be afraid of their tarot cards. And I wanted to give some reasons why you shouldn't be. So one of the common things that I will see is for people to be so hesitant to pull out their cards at moments where it really matters, and also about topics where it really matters, right? Like, if I don't push people and kind of like read between the lines, like sometimes what I have noticed in some tarot readings with some clients, definitely not all, is that sometimes folks are afraid to tell me what they really want to know until like the last 5 minutes. So being a professional reader for so long, I've kind of learned a little bit how to anticipate this and how to work with it so that we can still get the most out of a session. But I've sometimes had clients, like, when I ask, like, okay, what is going on? What's the situation? They'll talk for a while, like, okay, what about my kids? What about my job? What about my parents? What about my health? And it will all be like a very normal conversation, like not very charged though. And then they'll kind of like, once we do all of that, then they'll kind of tack on at the end, oh yeah, and like also my love life. I kind of like, some crazy shit just happened and I might be getting a divorce. Like, and I'm just like, what? But funnily enough, that doesn't usually happen because oftentimes that will come up in the middle of a reading anyway, due to the cards that come up. And then with a combination of my intuition, my ability to read the cards, and what the spirits whisper in my ear, I usually am like, so how's the marriage going? How's the love life? Like, how's the thing that you absolutely have not asked about, but we're seeing a very interesting card coming up? How is that thing? And then people will usually be like, oh shit, yeah, I kind of didn't want to ask about that because that's what I'm really stressed about. Everything else feels manageable, but that's the one thing that feels horrifying. And so I didn't ask about it, even though it's the one thing I want to know the most information about. So I do see that a lot, right? And why do people do that? I don't think it's because they want to waste their time or waste my time, or I don't think people are trying to like fuck themselves over by doing that. I think it's due to fear, right? Like, people are so often afraid to hear the real reason, or like the real answer, the real intel, the real feedback, the real call out from the tarot cards. And I get it. Like, honestly, it's only in the last few weeks that I've been reading my own cards about one particular area of life that I have definitely been burying my head in the sand about. So don't worry, I still sometimes do that too. But you know what? I was so happy and I feel so much better now that I actually decided to face the music and pull some cards about the situation. And did I get called out? Like, yes. Do I still have some very like challenging things that I'm going to have to do ahead of me to kind of deal with the situation? Yep. Is it going to be fun or pleasant? Like, highly doubt it. But there is something really cathartic about facing our fears and asking our tarot cards or having someone else read cards for us about the things that we are really wanting to know. And if you're not too sure the stuff that you really want to know, it's going to be the stuff that you feel too worried or too afraid to ask. For some people, that's going to be love and relationships, because that's where they hold the most of their anxious energy, right? I think for most people, it's going to be that. It's so interesting. And then for some people, it's the opposite, like where they've been married for 20 years and they know their relationship is like 100% rock solid, but they've always been a bit like precarious when it comes to work. And so that's what they're more worried about than anything. And so we all have our weak points where, you know, we excel in some regions of life, and then in others we might struggle a little bit more. Doesn't mean anyone is a bad person. It just means we all are going to have our own ups and downs and our own things to overcome, our own challenges and our own areas for growth. Everyone is going to have those, right, in different areas of our life. And so my recommendation is always to face it. And no, I don't always take my own advice. Sometimes it just does feel way too overwhelming. But I do think that if we can face it, oftentimes it's going to be a lot better. And even if we're afraid to pull the cards, I do think it's a good idea to just pull them. Because then at least we'll have an idea of like, okay, this is the energy that's swirling around. Here's the lesson here. Here's what I'm fucking up. Here's what I'm doing wrong. And here's what I'm doing right. And here's a few different options that I can choose to move forward. And there's some problems that just get worse when we avoid them, right? I think it's actually probably a lot of problems. Maybe not all, but definitely a lot of problems don't go away if we avoid them. Some do, but I don't think it's the most common. And so if you are afraid to pull out your tarot cards because you're just stressed out about something, you're not sure what the answer to your question is going to be, you just feel like stressed out, you're afraid, my advice is always going to be to pull out those cards, shuffle them, ask your question, speak from your heart, and see what happens. So I think oftentimes the scariest part is in that anticipation. It's in not knowing. And when we actually decide to pull those cards, it's going to give us a lot of information to help us move forward in a way that can feel much more grounded and much more stable and much more directed in terms of how are we working with our energy? How can we most take ownership for our own circumstances, our own life, and all of that, right? Because one of the things I love about magic and spirituality and tarot and all of that, everything I always talk about is it is so much about reclaiming our agency. Admitting to ourselves that we can make an impact and a change in our own lives. And I think that is something that's so easy to get disconnected from. It's so easy to feel like a victim in life. It's so easy to just feel like we're too exhausted to do anything other than just go through the motions. Like, I totally get it. Like, I feel like that sometimes too. So totally hear everyone who feels that way. And at the same time, I think it can be really good to shake ourselves out of whatever complacency we do have. And sometimes it does creep up on us, right? And sometimes people who don't usually have that, it does sometimes come and rear its head. And so by choosing magic, by choosing tarot, by choosing to face our tarot cards and face ourselves, we can make that first step in changing our lives for the better, even if it does invite of us to step up into the next best version of ourselves. And I know that's tough, but it's important, I think. So that's that for today, friends. Short episode. Little tiny short episode. So I just wanted to remind you guys of some important dates and deadlines that are coming up. So Tarot Without Bullshit is launching Tuesday, October 24th. I'm so stoked about that. So mark your calendars. This course has been running since 2019. It is the best tarot course on the entire internet. I will be talking more about that in future episodes to come. But if you are sick of being afraid of your tarot cards, if you are sick of getting paralysis when you flip a card over, if you're sick of looking up tarot card meanings on the internet, this is the course for you. Tarot Without Bullshit online course and group coaching program launches October 24th. So stay tuned. I will give you guys all the information you need to know about that if you want to join up and completely change your life for the better. Otherwise, I've got 2 amazing live workshops coming up this month, October 29th and 30th. They are respectively Ancestor Magic on October 29th and what is the other one? Tarot for Mediumship on October 30th, Monday. So those are being held on the Sunday, Ancestor Magic, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. On the Monday, 7 to 9, Tarot for Mediumship, both for $350. That's a really, really good steal. My workshops, if you get them one by one, is $250. So you're going to want to jump on that while you can. Obviously, if you can't come live, there is always the replay option. I always send everyone who signs up the replay. It is so important to do that, as I personally love watching and rewatching and re-listening to workshops that I sign up for. So I want to make sure you all get to do that as well, as there's like a special pleasure in that. And what people tell me about my teaching is that they can listen to it a bazillion times and get something more and something new from it every single time they listen. So you're definitely not going to want to miss out. Information on how to sign up on those things is in the description of this, whether you're listening on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of that stuff. Okay, my friends, happy tarot reading, happy October. I will talk to you guys soon. And I hope you had a lovely eclipse, new moon vibe over the weekend. Talk soon. Bye.